10 here. So the equation kx squared plus 3x plus 1 is exactly one solution. Find the value of k. So if it has one solution, it has to equal 0. So b squared minus 4ac equals 0. So 9 minus 4k equals 0. So if we solve for k, that would be negative 9 over negative 4, or 9/4. So number 10, let's see, what's the first thing it's asking us in A? It's find the inverse of f. So inverse, we switch our x and y. So x equals 2y plus 1. Solve for y. X minus 1 equals 2y. So our inverse would equal x minus 1 divided by 2. Find g of f of negative 2. So g of f of negative 2. So I'm going to take that negative 2 and plug it into the f. So 2 times negative 2 plus 1. So negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So that's the first part. So this is really g of negative 3. So that would be 3 times negative 3 squared minus 4. So 9, 27 minus 4 is 23. And find f of g of x. So there's our start of our f. We're going to replace the x with 3x squared minus 4 plus 1. So if we distribute this, we got 6x squared minus 8 plus 1. So 6x squared minus 7. So this bottom one, number 12. So we have two functions, f and g. Find g of f of 3. So the first thing we're going to find is f of 3. So 2 to the third is 8. So now g of 8 equals 8 over 8 minus 2, so 8 over 6, or 4 over 3. Evaluate the inverse when x equals 5. So this is saying on our inverse, when we plug in 5, we get some value. So what that means is on our regular function, the x and y switch. So it's the coordinate y, 5. So if we plug that in, it's like saying 5 equals y over y minus 2. And we got to solve for y. So times y minus 2. So we have y minus 2 times 5 equals y. We distribute, so 5y minus 10 equals y. Get the y's on the same side. So negative 10 equals negative 4y. So y would be 10/4, or 5 over 2. So number 13. I think I might just get some of these started for you here, and then you can finish it. If it has two real roots, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. So our b value, k minus 3 squared, 4 times k times 1 is greater than 0. So you're going to have to solve this one. So you got a quadratic, so you're going to have to multiply it out and see when it's greater than 0. And I'll leave that for you to do. So what's the difference on this next one? Write down the values of k for which this has two equal roots. So if they're equal, b squared minus 4ac has to equal 0. So we have k minus 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times k equals 0. And then you have to solve this. So once again, you'll have to multiply it out. This next one, the following diagram shows parts of the graph where here's our quadratic. Find both x-intercepts. So we have to factor this. So if we box and circle it, x squared minus x minus 2. So what multiplies to negative 2 and adds to negative 1? Well, that's negative 2 and 1. So we have x. So if it factors into x minus 2 and x plus 1, where does it cross the x line would be at x equals 2 and x equals negative 1. The coordinates of our vertex, negative the opposite of b over 2a. So we could say 1 over 2 times 1, so 1/2. Or we could have found the middle of these. We could have done 2 plus negative 1 divided by 2. And we get the same thing. We get 1/2. And number 15, the following diagram shows part of the graph of a quadratic. So we're given the intercepts and the y-intercept. Write down in the form negative 10 times x minus px minus q. Well, p and q are just the intercepts, so this would be negative 10 x plus 4 x minus 6. Find another expression in the form. So we have to find our vertex. Well, we know our vertex is in the middle of those intercepts, so 4 plus negative 6 divided by 2. Negative 2 over 2. That's wrong. It's like it shouldn't be negative, so 4 plus negative 4 plus 6, so 2 over 2 is 1. And if we plug that in, negative 10 times 1 plus 4 times 1 minus 6, so negative 10 times 6 times negative 5, so that's 300. So this would be negative 10 times x minus 1 squared plus 300. And then it asks to write it in standard form, so we just have to take that and multiply it out. So negative 10 times x minus 1 times x minus 1 plus 300, and multiply that out.